Joining us now is Sarah Moore, the Chief Operating Officer of the Grey Cup Festival and Senior VP of Business Operations for the Toronto Argos. Welcome to What She Said.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, you are here to talk to us about something very special. It's a forum that's happening. So tell us about it and why.
Yeah, so there are so many great traditions around Grey Cup and the festival. And one of the things that we've never really done is celebrate the role of women in sport. And not just the role of women in sport, but really the role sport plays in the advancement of women. So what we are doing as part of the celebrations that week is having a luncheon on Friday, the 25th. And we're really going to celebrate the advancements of women in sport, but more importantly, talk about what we can continue to do as female leaders in sport and outside of sport to keep girls active. There's a really depressing drop-off in girls who stay active in sport between the ages of 13 and 17. Still. And even with those great advancements of our athletes in Rio and other things, it's a problem right across North America. And I was a competitive hockey player growing up, and I played when I was at university. And I've always said I learned more in the locker room than I did in the classroom in terms of being prepared for a boardroom. And I think we need to keep giving girls the chance to be competitive in sport, whatever sport it is, and however far they want to take it, because it just makes you a better person. It helps you make your community stronger. I now coach my daughters in their hockey teams. So there's just such a giving back when you get involved in sport.
So what barriers do you feel that women still face in professional sports?
Part of it is role models. We don't see a lot of female athletes year-round the way we do with male sports. So I think there's some of that we can do. How they're portrayed in media. I think the job that was done in Canada this year for the Olympics was stellar and probably the best it has ever been done in terms of showcasing that. There's lots of advancements in terms of prize money, keeping girls in competitive sports that way. But on a grassroots level, a lot of it has to do with body image, body acceptance, continuing to support and keep LGBT athletes in sport at that age, making locker rooms inclusive and supportive. All of those will go a long way to raising those numbers and keeping girls active.
For any parents who are listening, you said that you learn more in the locker room than maybe in the classroom. What are the qualities that are learned through sports that then transition into business and into all kinds of things? I would think the first thing would be discipline.
Discipline is a huge part of it. Time management is a huge part of it. If you're playing athletics at any sort of a competitive level, it's tens of hours a week sometimes. And if that's on top of classroom time and other things, it's difficult to balance. It's also learning how to be a part of a team, how to be a leader, and keeping your attitude great when you're sitting on the bench or when you get cut. These are the things that happen in business. You don't get that promotion, or you're on a team when something fails, and you pick yourself up and you get right back in the game. And sports teaches you to get right back up and get in the game.
You can't be a poor loser.
No, you can't. You've got to take something from losing. Nobody ever gets through their professional life without losing, ever. So you get better at it, you learn from it, and that applies everywhere in our lives.
And also, time management in terms of prioritizing things, because when you're in sports, you've also got schoolwork and maybe chores at home and a part-time job and other things, and it teaches you that.
Yeah, I think that's where... for me, anyway, it started where, how busy people tend to get more done. It was when I was busy with sports that's where I learned to maximize my time and be more efficient, focus on the things that need to be done. Again, all things that can make great leaders in an office or any sort of work environment at all are things that happen through sport.
So this is the first time that a Grey Cup Festival event has been 100% focused on women in sport. Was that a tough thing to get done?
No, this was so widely appreciated. All of the teams across our league, the league office. When we first announced it, I got calls from all the teams offering to help. And the league actually is very progressive, I would say, in terms of its role. There are senior executives, myself with the Argos at the league office. Several of the other teams have female executives. The Montreal Alouettes have a female coach. We've done some really groundbreaking and award-winning programs about standing up to domestic violence and standing up to bullying, and our players are all very much involved in that. I'm really proud of the progressive nature of the Canadian Football League, and this luncheon as part of Grey Cup Festival is just one more way that we're bringing people into the bigger, CFL fold.
Well, for many people, they won't be able to take part in this forum. But is there some way? Will this be live streamed, or can they buy tickets? Or how can people get involved and get to hear some of those key messages?
Yeah, so people in Toronto can absolutely buy tickets. They're available on the Grey Cup Festival site. We just announced today Stacey Allister, a great Canadian who's now down working for the USTA and running the US Open, is our keynote. We have several Olympic gold medalists. Natalie Spooner is speaking. Tessa Bonham, who's now a TSN broadcaster, is moderating the panel. We have Michelle O'Keefe, who's the CEO of Basketball Canada. It's a phenomenal lineup of really fantastic women who have great stories about what sport meant for them, but more importantly, perhaps what they're now doing as female leaders to keep that next generation involved. So we would love to have young athletes or really anybody, men and women, because this is something for men and women to, I think, dig down and get involved in, come out to the luncheon. And I think working with CAUSE, the Canadian Centre for the Advancement of Women in Sport, we're going to be able to put out a paper following this about what we think are the concrete steps that really need to be taken.
It's wonderful hearing you say this, but how are you connecting your organization? How or is it connecting with government? Because we see so many changes in schools, gym programs being cut, sports funding being cut. What can we do about that?
So I think that, again, there's a great opportunity for partnerships. So the CFL partnered with Adidas Canada and partnered with the Public Health Agency of Canada 2 years ago on a program called BOKS, which is BOKS, Build Our Kids' Success. And it's all about keeping kids active in the morning. It's run right across the country now. Thousands of kids participate. It has been involved in several research programs. It is proven to improve academic achievement. It's proven that it keeps kids active and makes them better students, makes them better members of their community. So I think there are great opportunities for that public-private. CFL is very much involved in that and very proud of the work that's being done. And I think it's that innovative nature in terms of keeping those programs funded that we need to look at.
Absolutely.
Are you optimistic about the future of women in professional sports?
I am. I think I would love to see that tide turned about young girls dropping out. On the professional level, I don't think there's ever been a stronger time. I think you see professional women's hockey now in Canada and getting a much better profile, and it continues to grow, and the quality of the sport being played is spectacular. You see the advancement in women's tennis and what's being done is a great example. You see golf, and you get great Canadians achieving it. It brings more media attention and gets more girls involved in those sports. So, yeah, I am optimistic. I think great people are involved in it on the policy level, on the academic level. And when you have people like Stacey Allister coming out and speaking very openly and challenging corporate America and corporate Canada to get behind it, yeah, I am optimistic.
So we should be buying our little girls hockey sticks for Christmas.
You buy them whatever they want. I think that's the thing about sport is there's always something for everybody.
Or a tennis racket or whatever.
Yeah, Rosie Kozar is on our panel, and she's a rhythmic gymnast. I just think the opportunities for sport and learning those lessons are huge.
Yeah, absolutely. So the luncheon and the event takes place on Friday, November the 25th at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre. So as you've said, like people that go, the attendees will hear from all kinds of influential and inspiration thought leaders, world-class athletes from the sports industry and beyond. And then the forum addresses, like, what specific topics are you going to address at the forum?
Well, it's really, we're going to sort of set the stage about what the situation is right now for women in sport. We're going to talk about some of those barriers that we talked about keeping girls active. And Stacey Allister, as I said, is really going to give a keynote. She's done a lot with women's tennis in terms of prize money and appearances and really promoting. It's probably one of the most advanced female professional sports in terms of brand and how it's looking versus the men's. And she's going to sort of put out a bit of a challenge in terms of how we do that across more sports, how we keep it in the media, not just in Olympic years, but throughout the years. And I think that's going to be a part of it. But really, when we get to the panel, it's going to be about strategizing about what all of us can do as leaders in our community, as leaders within sport, to both set a good example and to motivate that next generation.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us about it.
I was thrilled to be able to. So thank you so much for having me.
And we'll be right back.